So when you look at that 2-0 loss on the scoreboard from the USA-Portugal game, your first instinct is probably to think, well, the whole squad just bombed the test. But welcome to today's deep dive into the broadcast tape, where we're looking at what this actually means for Mauricio Pochettino's final World Cup roster.
Right, because a pre-tournament friendly like this one in Atlanta, it's not actually graded on the final scoreline at all.
Exactly. I mean, it's really more of a final exam for those players on the bubble. It wasn't about winning. It was about, just individual survival.
Yeah, we're talking about a U.S. side that made, 6 changes from the Belgium match just days before that. So for those bubble guys, this was their 90 minutes to prove they have the tactical discipline to handle intense pressure.
Which brings us right to Matt Freese in goal. He gets the start. He immediately robs Bruno Fernandes with this absolutely world-class save early on.
Oh, that save was unbelievable, yeah.
It really was. But then he still ends up picking the ball out of his own net twice. So, I'm kind of struggling with how analysts are calling his performance a success. Giving a keeper a passing grade after conceding 2 goals feels like, a student writing this brilliant essay, but then completely failing the multiple choice section.
Well, I get that, but you really have to look at the mechanics of those specific goals. Freese actually cemented himself as the presumptive number 1 here.
Wait, really? Even with the 2 goals?
Yeah, because he was completely abandoned by his defense. On both of those goals, he was left facing unopposed, high-probability strikes from right inside the box. It wasn't his fault at all. If the tournament started tomorrow, he's the guy.
Okay, so the real breakdown happened right in front of him then.
Exactly.
Because we did see some bright spots in the attack before it all fell apart. Like Malik Tillman was pressing with just crazy intensity, and Freeman was showing off incredible speed on the wing. Which is wild, by the way, since Freeman has only played, 38 minutes for Villarreal this entire season.
Right, it's pretty impressive energy from him. But the problem is, energy without structure doesn't mean much. The midfield spacing was just completely disconnected.
And Portugal saw that right away, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, immediately. They isolated the U.S. central midfielders and just completely cut off the supply lines to Christian Pulisic. They would just double team or even triple team Pulisic without worrying about being punished anywhere else on the field.
Which explains why he was so frustrated and ended up drawing that yellow card right before the half. He was just tactically suffocated.
Yeah, and that kind of suffocation forces mistakes.
Speaking of lethal mistakes, let's talk about that first goal. Weston McKennie turns the ball over. Bruno Fernandes hits this incredible blind backheel assist, and Francisco Trincão scores. But watching the tape, the U.S. defense wasn't beaten by speed. They were completely fixated on the ball.
It's the classic ball-watching trap. In a zonal defense, when there's a turnover, you have to scan for trailing attackers. But 4 U.S. defenders just got sucked right toward the ball.
They just watched. It's like an audience watching a magic trick, You get so hyper-focused on the flashy hand holding the cards that you completely forget you're actually supposed to be stopping the magician.
That is exactly what happened. They left Trincao entirely unmarked.
And then we saw that same exact inexcusable defense on the second goal. João Félix gets a cross, takes a literal chest touch inside the box, and hits a spectacular volley off the post. Taking a leisurely touch like that in the penalty area should be physically impossible if the defense is awake.
Right, because at the international level, mental hesitation is punished in milliseconds. You just cannot allow a forward to dictate the tempo inside the 18-yard box.
They basically just gave him a comfortable cushion to work with.
Yeah, they failed to step up and challenge the aerial ball, and a player with Felix's technical brilliance will make you pay for that instantly.
So looking at the big picture here, that's 2 defeats right before the World Cup. Building a successful team clearly isn't just about talent or individual flashes of speed. It's really about maintaining your composure when the system inevitably breaks down.
Definitely. You can press perfectly for most of the game, but if you lose focus for 5 seconds against a team like Portugal, you lose.
Which leaves all of you listening with a massive question to mull over as Pochettino finalizes his squad. When you're picking those last few spots, what should take priority? Do you take a chance on the raw, unpolished effort of those bubble players who showed flashes of individual brilliance? Or do you strictly select players based on the cold, tactical discipline needed to prevent those catastrophic defensive mistakes? Because once the World Cup starts, the test is strictly pass or fail.